Live. Okay, we're live. Hey, everybody! Thank you for joining us. A little bit late. Thank you for your patience. We had a little bit of some technical difficulties. So I'm joined with Captain Steve Hunt, and he is pretty much running our recruitment drive right now
for police officers with the City of Azusa. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. So we opened up a recruitment on May 16th here at the City of Azusa, and what we're looking for is some outstanding employees that would like to be police officers for the City of Azusa. For those of you who don't know anything about Azusa, we're nestled up here in the foothills in the eastern San Gabriel Valley, and we're a police department of about 60 sworn police officers, and we currently have 2 vacancies for police officer trainee positions. We actually have 3 recruitments going on for those same 2 positions. We have a police officer trainee, which is somebody who's never been to a police academy, that hasn't had any formal police training. It's kind of what we call an off-the-street recruitment, so anyone can apply for that position that meets the criteria. Second, we have an in-academy recruitment, so any of you watching that are currently enrolled in a California Post Police Academy, you're welcome to apply as an in-academy recruit. And then lastly, we have a lateral recruitment, so any of you watching that are currently police officers, full-time police officers with another police agency in California, we are accepting applications for lateral recruitment as well. So those are our 3 recruitments we have going on for those 2 positions.
So, and we're getting a lot of. Are we getting a lot of applicants right now?
Right now, we have 51 applicants as of about 3 this afternoon. So we have about another week left of the recruitment. Our recruitment closes on June 9th. So you have to have your application in by close of business on June 9th, which is 5 p.m. on June 9th. So if you are interested and you do qualify, please go to our website, azusapd.org, or you can also go to the city website, and that's www.ci.azusa.ca.us, and follow the link to Human Resources, and the job flyer is there as well. We use a NeoGov electronic application program.
Oh, okay.
So it's very user-friendly. Fill it out online. But just keep in mind, as some of you might be aware, others might not, the testing process for a police officer is unlike any other. It's very challenging. There's several steps to the process. And that first step is the application process. So if you don't fill out that application properly, you can actually be disqualified before we even get a look at you because you're incomplete with your information. So please, follow the instructions, fill out the application completely, and provide all the information requested.
And I think, well, first off, on about the website, right on the upper left of the department's website, you can click on the link there in regards to employment, or you can just go to azusapd.org/employment. It'll bring you right to our page where we discuss the hiring process. Now, along those lines of, and that's pretty much the first step, is filling out that application. And you're going to hear us talk about it a lot in this stream, is we need you to be honest. That is one of the most important qualifications, requirements for this position, and we cannot overemphasize it enough. We see so many people that go through the hiring process that would be good police officers, but they get a little scared about telling us some stuff. Can you kind of talk about that, Captain?
Absolutely. During the process, one of the steps is a background, and in that background, they're going to ask you things that you've done over your lifetime, and some things only go back about 10 years. Other things are what you've done in your entire lifetime. And so many times people will not be honest with that information, and ultimately it's discovered through the background investigation that they did something, and oftentimes that something they did is not a disqualifier, but the fact that they lied about it, or even omitting it, just leaving that information out of your background, an omission is just like a lie, and you will be disqualified.
So with that, yeah, I saw that. We saw that, Marlon, and Actually,
By
we
the
had
way,
some fun with that.
Marlon, thanks a lot for your comment, because by the time we were done with the last feed, in my mailbox was a picture of Ned Flanders with Captain Bars. So I appreciate that.
We'd love to share that, but we're not. We can't do that yet. But thanks, Marlon. We heard you. Actually, a lot of our partners heard him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So somebody's asking here, and I'm just typing in one of the responses. They're asking if any other like mechanic or dispatch positions opening, and there might be a part-time dispatcher position open in the close future. Is that correct?
Yeah, there could be. The best way to look at what we have available is go to that www.ci.azusa.ca.us and go to the human resources. Those are right on that website are all the active positions within the city of Azusa. So I think they had, last time I looked, I'm not sure if it's closed, they had some lineman positions and other things like that. So that's your best bet. That's the most accurate, most up-to-date information. And once a position closes, it's then removed from that site. So that's your best way to get that.
Okay, and you know what? We see some of the questions that are coming in. We're going to try to go through a orderly process in the processing, but we're going to also try to answer your questions here in between there. So somebody's asking about the physical test and what it entails, and we're going to get to that in just a second. So the written application, they complete that online, they submit that. It's very important to be honest. It's very important to be thorough and complete, because after all, if you can't follow the instructions on the very first thing we give you, that could pose a little bit of a, well, it definitely instills an impression upon us. So the next step after they turn that in, what's the next part of the processing?
So what happens once everybody turns in their application and it actually closes? The application goes for a review process, and that review process takes place at the Human Resources and here at the Police Department. So once we complete that, then the applicants are invited for a written examination. The written examination here is a Pellet B examination, which is a post test, and it's a written examination which stands for post entry level law enforcement testing, and it's the Pellet B. And so the good thing about the test is if you have applied elsewhere and you have a T-score for that test, if it's within a certain timeline, you can actually use that T-score here at Azusa, so you won't have to show up on the 20th when we have our written test.
And I'm actually putting inside of the comments right now, I'm putting a link to the California Peace Officers Standards and Training, or California Post. What is Post, Ken?
Yeah, Post is Peace Officer Standards and Training. It is the governing body for all of law enforcement training and guidelines for hiring and retention of police officers. And so Post dictates what type of training we receive, what type of hiring standards we should have, and we comply with those Post standards. And so because it's standardized, they offer a lot of resources that are very helpful for those who have never been involved in the hiring process before. And so if you go to the Post website and you go to the Peace Officer Selection Process section on that site, there's a whole list of what most police departments have as requirements for their hiring process. And those are the recommendations at minimum. So there may be some additional things that might be involved at each city that's not on the Post guidelines, but we can talk about those here at the Azusa Police today.
Yeah, and actually on the Post site, it's right under the tab of hiring, and there's just so much information available to you if you're looking for more information about Post and how to become a police officer in the state of California.
Exactly. And that Post website has information on the Pellet B. It actually gives you sample test batteries. It's a great resource for preparing for that written exam. And so if you do decide to apply with us here at the Azusa Police Department, our written examination is scheduled for the 20th of June. And so your best bet is really start reading that information, and if you haven't been back to school for a while, I would suggest you take some of the practice tests to assess where you're at.
Right.
And so that's helpful as well. On that same site, there's information on the PAT, which is the physical agility test. I noticed there was a question a moment ago about the PAT, or the physical fitness component of the hiring process. And we use the standard Post test, so if you go onto the Post website, you can see exactly what the entire PAT, the physical agility test, consists of.
Right. And, you know, something also that we're kind of proud about here at our department, and Captain, you've been here, you know, well, I don't want to make you sound old, but you've been here a lot longer than me. And one thing that we have here is we have a very innovative training program. And when we were talking about post and what the requirements are to become a police officer in the state of California and maintain your certification, our department has taken the lead in giving, do you know how, is it double
it's
three times the amount of training?
Exactly. We are required by post to do 24 hours of training for our police officers in a 2-year period. In that same 2-year period, we receive over 100 hours per officer at the department level. Some officers exceed that number as well because we send people to outside training. So we are seriously committed to our training. We want to make sure that our officers are prepared the best they can be for any situation that they encounter out there. And the only way to do that is to train them and make that initial investment into that training to help them be successful in these challenging times that police officers face out on the streets.
And
today.
we've seen that training pay off time and time again.
Absolutely.
In our department in situations that have come, you know, on a normal shift, and officers have handled it in a way that we're quite proud of, and our residents and business owners are quite proud of the fact that that there is that extra training that their officers go
Absolutely.
through. So we do exceed the post requirements, and so after, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, we have a question about, let's see, Dolly said she passed the written exam for CO, but failed the PFT, and it was easy. I was told the PD PFT is a bit harder than CO. I'm not sure what the custody officer test is like. Again, if you want to check that post website, take a look at the PAT on that one. It's the physical agility test. It will give you exactly what the test entails.
So,
but one thing I do want to make clear though is that PAT is a small measurement. You want to be prepared for this job. If you are applying for us as a police officer trainee, which is the off the street hiring, you want to be in good physical condition to be prepared for the academy, because that test is just a requirement for the job. The academy standards are extremely challenging, and if you are not in physical condition or well prepared for that, the likelihood of success is much lower, because it is a constant barrage of physical fitness throughout the entire 5 or 6 months of the academy.
excellent. Okay, so we got some more coming in, but let's move along. Well, this one's not catching up to the one that we've got over there. So, you know, this is new technology for Facebook, and so we're going through the rough side just like they are. But, okay, so after it gets reviewed at HR, what's
Yep.
the next thing that happens?
So you'll be, if you meet the requirements, you'll be invited for a written examination. Again, that written examination is going to be on June 20th here at the police department. Are we still good?
We're still good.
Okay. And it'll be on the 20th. That test will take several hours. I'm not sure what the time is yet. We have yet to determine the start time. And then if you are successful in that written examination, you'll be invited to take the physical agility test. We conduct the physical agility test at Rio Hondo Police Academy. And so the written exam is on the 20th. The physical agility exam, if you pass and are successful and are invited, is June 25th.
So
which is a Saturday, so it's kind of nice.
Okay, so that kind of works works for people that are working. So let's talk about the written exam. As police officers, we do a lot of writing. In fact, everything we do, we document. And so, which we're going to go back onto the subject of being honest. As a police officer, you have to be honest. And even when you make a mistake, you know, and Captain here is my boss, and I used to work for him under a sergeant, and I used to walk into the sergeant's office and say, Sergeant, I got to tell you something. And but that's what he wants. That's what we want people to be. So when you're writing reports, you don't have somebody looking over your shoulder. You're writing those reports. They have to be truthful, as well as they have to be grammatically correct. And so writing is a big component in the written exam. as well as there's portions in there about navigation.
There's different sections on basic grammar and English, which is very important. There's some reasoning questions, logic questions, and some basic navigation. And there may even be questions on there, depending on what exam you're given, on reasoning as it relates to, hey, if you had this type of call for service, would you drive the wrong way? And you have to constantly evaluate and really read the question and see if whatever act you are asked to do, would it be justified with the type of crime or incident that you're responding to? So if you were responding to a burglar alarm, you wouldn't be driving with your lights and siren. You wouldn't drive the wrong way down a one-way road,
Right.
Because you're not saving a life. So if you saw a question like that, you'd have to really listen, I'm sorry, you should read, evaluate what is being asked, and provide the best answer.
At the same time, responding to that burglary alarm, it's important that you get on scene quickly in an efficient manner. However, it is not a call that warrants, the lights and sirens. So now we want to see, can you navigate on a sample map the quickest route to get to the scene? So it's those type of critical thinking skills that we're looking for.
Exactly.
Now, we've got a lot of questions about the physical agility test. Mr. Jerry Arnold here.
He should know all about
He should
that.
know all about this. But anyways, hats off to you there, Jerry. Can you give an example of what's included in the physical agility test?
The physical agility test is a basic obstacle course, and I don't have the exact route or obstacles, but there is a wall that you would have to get over. There's a short distance run, and really some basic obstacles to navigate. Where I see the most problems is really the wall. Many people have a difficult time getting over the wall. Usually it's a 6-foot wall, and for some reason some people just don't have the upper body strength. They don't have the appropriate technique to get themselves over the wall, and that's a pretty significant part of the exam, because you have to understand a police officer doing this job could get involved in a situation where they have to get over a wall to save a life. They might have to save the life of another officer. They might have to save the life of a resident that's being attacked, or somebody that's drowning in a pool. And so it's a pretty significant part of the exam. And so we actually lose a lot of people in that part of the exam. They're just ill prepared. They don't have the upper body strength to get themselves over. So what I would suggest is that you use a well-rounded fitness program that incorporates upper body strength. You can't just run to prepare for the academy. You have to do a well-rounded physical fitness program that includes upper body, core strengthening types of activities. Some people will do CrossFit to train for the academy, and it's very good. They come out with very strong upper body skills. Sometimes they don't do well in the cardio area, so they have a hard time keeping up with runs. So whatever you do, if you do a CrossFit, make sure you are complementing that with some cardio exercise and getting your distance runs in, because you're going to probably be looking at about 5-mile distances at around an 8-minute pace, and you'll be fine. If you get too much slower than that, you might struggle, you might stand out, you might have a little bit of hard time in the academy. So do the best you can to be in that group that can get through without difficulty.
And I already know my brothers and sisters in CrossFit because I do that. I know they're going to get all riled up now and go, hey, what's he mean? And so let me clarify. CrossFit is excellent, and actually in the academy they call it functional fitness. The post is turning towards that type of high intensity training, and so it's excellent. It will get you prepared, but what Captain's saying is you still need to put in those long distance cardio work.
That is not a dig on CrossFit whatsoever. It's a great program. It prepares a lot of people in one aspect of it, but the problem is there's the two aspects. You have the distance running, and that's really feedback that I've got from academy instructors is people that just engage in CrossFit are not always successful because of the difficulty with the runs. So what I'm saying is combine the two. Make sure you're getting your distance runs in and do that CrossFit, because that CrossFit will probably help you get over the wall.
Yeah. And Mike here is asking, is there a place I could practice jumping walls without getting in trouble with the law? Well, Mike, I would have to say that I think as long as you're not doing it at 3 o'clock in the morning in a commercial area where we're going to think that you have an ulterior motive, I think you'll be all right. You probably want to go, if there's a business nearby or an apartment or something, let the manager know, hey, I'm just going to be going back and forth over the wall. I'm sure people will be... just make sure you have permission to do it.
Yeah, there's a few schools that that have obstacle courses that you can kind of use. A neighbor that has a 6-foot wall, take a measuring tape. 6-foot wall is actually a pretty standard wall, so talk to a neighbor. One thing I would suggest, the day of the test you won't be able to do this, but when you're practicing at home, throw a blanket over the wall so you don't scratch up your arms as you're preparing.
That's bad
and do a little research online. You'll find there's some techniques. If your upper body strength is such that you really struggle, there are a few techniques that, in combination with that upper body strength, you could actually get over using a technique. So do your research. Put time into it. Don't just on the spur of the moment say, hey, I think I want to do this, and you haven't prepared.
Right.
If you're physically fit and you're naturally athletic, you probably won't have a hard time. But if you struggle with it, you're going to have to invest that time to prepare.
Absolutely. Okay, so the next step after the written and the physical's done, what happens next?
Well, after the written exam, we will schedule you for an oral interview. Okay. And the oral interviews are going to take place actually on July 6th is our first date. If we do 2 dates, it will be July 6th and July 7th. And again, it's almost like a marathon. There's a lot of steps in the hiring process, and the oral interview is unlike any other job oral interview that you'll take. Typically, there is a 3-person panel that you will have to present yourself in front of. But I want to even start before that. Your oral interview takes some preparation. Make sure you talk to some folks that are in this industry. If you're applying for the job, you don't have any family members, you don't have any friends, go down to your local police department and ask them about the hiring process, and ask them specifically about the oral interview, because there are certain things you want to be able to get across and be able to understand as you get into the oral interview. The interview usually takes about a half hour, and again, you're in front of 3 officers, corporals, sergeants, maybe even lieutenants. That will be on your panel. But you also have to know how to dress appropriately. Both men and women, sometimes, I'm not sure if they just have never applied for a job before or an important job. You have to wear a suit and tie. And ladies, dress appropriately. Make sure that you don't wear revealing clothing. It has to be business professional. You are going in for a job that is extremely important and extremely challenging, and that you want to be taken seriously. And how you're taken seriously is if you dress appropriately and you present yourself in a professional manner. And so, that appearance is everything. That's your first impression as you get into that oral interview. So,
and he's mentioning this because
I've sat on oral interviews,
and
people walk in, they're not wearing a suit. They might be wearing their work clothes that they just left, and albeit I'm glad that they're working somewhere, but this is a professional interview, and there are impressions that you make, and whether you're prepared or not, or you understand the seriousness of this job, and part of that is dressing professional. So dress professional and present yourself in that manner.
And we've seen, everything. It's so key. And there's entire courses about this on how to interview for a job, and there's books and there's websites out there where you can find information out. So we can only cover so much, but it comes down to everything, including. We'll notice. I've sat on panels where you'll see that the applicants maybe they got grease and stuff under their fingernails, or they didn't comb their hair, or maybe some. I remember this one. He had lunch still on. In his mustache. Those are things that, they form an impression.
Exactly.
And
if you prepare, you'll do fine. But if you go in there blind and you really are ill prepared, it will be challenging for you.
Right.
You know, the things that you can prepare for, you always, in most interviews, will have an opening and a closing statement. So prepare something.
Right.
Why are you interested in this job? You know, that's a huge question that we're going to have for you, is why do you want to be a police officer?
And we want more than just, believe me, we've heard it.
Pay and benefits.
Pay and benefits. Listen, that's not why you become a police officer.
This is a very difficult job. It's challenging. It can be rewarding, but it can be some of the toughest days in your life. And you have to want to do this job. You can't want to do it for the pay.
Right.
And I suggest that you do it for you know, a higher calling, or because you really are interested in this job and you're really interested in helping people, because this job is a lifetime of helping people.
Absolutely. So we got we have some comments here. We got so Yamaleth, I believe, is, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. So she's saying you can practice getting over the wall at Rio Hondo Police Academy or at the Sheriff's Academy, and then I know somebody had mentioned if there's an age limit. Is there an age limit when you apply to become a police officer?
We don't have an age limit. There's a age requirement for testing for the position, and so you have to be 20 and a half at the time of application. And I'll just give you a little history behind that. Is if you do become a police officer, in order to carry a weapon, you have to be 21 years old. And so most agencies will have that requirement of 20 and a half, so that by the time you get hired, you go through the academy, you'll be at the age where you can actually carry a firearm.
It would kind of be difficult to walk into a bar too to enforce the law.
To enforce the law, you're not even supposed to be in the bar. So, yeah. But as far as the age limit at the max, there's no defined age limit that I'm aware of.
Okay. And Ines, is it Ines, I believe, or Ms. Perez? I hope you guys hire my brother-in-law who served in the Marine Corps for 15 years. Well, hats off to him for serving. We really appreciate that, and hopefully he's applied. And
yeah, absolutely.
We look forward to.
You know, some I've heard some stories of agencies that give extra points for veterans. We don't necessarily have a point system that has that reward. There's many of us here that are veterans. You and I alike are veterans, and so I think his advantage is going in and just having that ability to present himself, because most soldiers or previous soldiers have done that sometime in their tenure as soldiers. So.
Yeah. So just before we get off the topic of the oral interview, we also want you to understand is, hey, we've all been there. We've been on that side of the table, so we understand people being nervous, scared, the sick to the stomach feeling. We get it, and although we, you know, if you're not feeling that way walking into an interview, that's kind of a problem. But we just want you to know we understand. You come into the interview, take a deep breath, collect your thoughts, and you'll do just fine. So after somebody I saw said, "Do I have to cut my hair?" Well,
yeah, there are grooming standards.
There are grooming standards as a police officer.
Yep. As a police officer here within the walls of the PD, but also at the academy, they have grooming standards, and the grooming standards at the academy are much stricter than here at the PD. But we still have to have a professional haircut, and there are restrictions.
And let me explain something to you. All the videos you see, the recruitment videos of the men and women that are in the academy, and you see the guys, they've shaved their heads. The women are wearing their hair tight up in a bun. Hey, the reason why we're shaving our heads, you have no time to go and get a haircut. You remember that? There is no time. And the last thing you want is to get a ding or a gig in the academy for your grooming standards. So guys just say, okay, enough with it, boom, and just shave it off. So, okay, let's see. Okay, does it... Okay, this is a great question, Mason. Does it even hurt the applicant to pursue multiple applications with multiple departments? Does it ever come off as if they're committed to your department as much as you would want them to be, since they are applying to another department? So sometimes you'll get somebody that applies to 10 different agencies.
Yeah, you know, it's in the past, I could say that it may challenge you a bit. But it's pretty common now for people to apply at multiple agencies. So I wouldn't say that it's a disqualifier by any stretch of the imagination. You start getting up into 30 and 40 police departments, and you're not getting hired. That's the fact that you've tested for that many is not a problem. It's how come you didn't get hired at any of those? And so they'll look more closely at why that didn't happen. And that's why, if you're a good candidate, you have a good background and a clean background, you're physically fit and prepared, and you pass those parts of the exam, you will be in a position to be successful. So everyone is different. Everybody has different life experiences. That background can be challenging. The standards are set high. We have post standards, and we have our organizational standards. And so we make sure that we're looking for candidates that meet those standards.
So, okay, they've gotten through, let's see. Okay, well, thank you for the compliment, Mason. We appreciate it. Mason's here is making a compliment on how active we are on social media, and hopefully the trend continues in law enforcement. And that's something innovative with our department as well, is that we do a lot of work on social media and our website, and
Absolutely.
It's a way that we can connect with our community. And recently we've been using it to help us with Neighborhood Watch in an innovative way, a new way of doing Neighborhood Watch, and it's paying off in dividends to us. So if you're looking for a department that's progressive in that, bridging that gap in the technological era, or going down that road, I would strongly encourage you to apply with our department. We're very active in it. So after the oral interview, what happens next?
So after the oral interview, what happens is all of the candidates that are successful in that process, either you're successful or you're not, your scores will be compiled and a list will be generated. And so depending on the number of applicants, we could have as few as a handful, or we can have 20 or 30 on an eligibility list. So we'll create an eligibility list based on those oral interviews. So depending on how well you do, we'll give you your ranking. And then since we have a couple positions open, at minimum, we would interview the top probably 3 or 4 candidates in the next interview process. You go through another.
So they go a second.
They'll go through another interview process, and the interview process is what we call an administrative interview. And that administrative interview is actually with the captain, either myself or Captain Fleming, and it's almost like a pre-background screening, and we just ask a lot of questions about you. It's not necessarily a performance-based interview. It's more to get to know who you are, to find out, are we going to process you through the background if you meet the requirements. And if you're successful in that, we will move you down to our backgrounds division, or our training division, who does our backgrounds, and then we would initiate the background.
Okay, so if you're just joining us, my name is Mike Byers, and I'm joined with Captain Steve Hunt, and we're talking about our recruitment process. We're currently hiring for the position of police officer, and so you've joined our Facebook Live feed. We've answered a bunch of questions all the way up to the administrative interview, and so again, if you're just joining us, you'll be able to watch, replay this after we're done on the live side. You'll be able to watch the replay and get the answers, hopefully, to questions that you might have. And so after the administrative interview, then they move on to
the background. So the background, if you want to kind of get an idea of what the background is going to entail, go to that Post website. And if you're just tuning in, Officer Byers talked about the California Post website. Post is Peace Officer Standards and Training here in California. They provide us our guidelines for hiring, retention, training of police officers in the state of California. And they have some great resources for you to review as you are deciding to get into this career. And so the hiring process can be pretty daunting and challenging, because there's so many steps to the process. And so take a look at that resource. And on there is something called the PHS, which is the Personal History Statement. That's your background paperwork. And most agencies use that exact form that's on there. So it will allow you to pull that form up, download it, and you're going to see the kind of questions that they're going to ask in that background. And so that's what we have our candidates do. They complete the background, and then they'll submit it to a background investigator. And then from there, we will schedule a polygraph. We actually do a lie detector test. It's required here at our department. And so that background is taking that information that you provide us and checking it for accuracy and honesty, and going back to your original statement about be honest all the way through this process, because it's oftentimes not the honesty that gets you. Whatever the violation was that you did, that you may try and hide and lie about, usually wouldn't have been disqualifying.
Right.
So if you're honest throughout the process and you go through the polygraph and you pass your polygraph and everything lines up, then you would be successful in that portion. And then they would move on to the investigation portion of it, where they would actually go out and conduct a background investigation on your life. And they go back and they talk to your neighbors and they talk to your schools, and everything that you put on that form they verify. And so and then on top of that, they find out more information and they verify more. So your best bet is to be honest, because if you omit something, an omission or leaving something out is just as much of a disqualifier as if you would have lied about it.
Right.
So, and matter of fact, when you look on that personal history statement, it says that right on the front.
Yeah, and we can't emphasize it enough. We see so many applicants come through and they get disqualified because of dishonesty.
Yeah.
And he hit it. You know, there are a lot of things that we can look over. You know, we can, as long as you're honest and we can verify whatever the incident was or the story was, and make sure that there wasn't any extenuating circumstances. There are look, everybody's human.
We're not looking for angels. We're looking for honest people.
Right, right. So now a couple questions we got: is military police training looked down upon when coming back into civilian policing?
No, not at all. Matter of fact, I think it would be a positive because you've received some level of training. You are aware and understand officer safety, because I believe the military police teaches
Absolutely.
that type of that training. More than likely, you'll be physically fit, so you'll have a pretty good upper hand by having that the actual training.
Now, I can't pronounce this. Mundi Aguilar. That's one of our fans and supports us here on social media and says, "Is there a weight limit? Because they've been eating a lot of great Mexican food, and let me tell you something.
That is my weakness.
That's our weakness, yeah. And you know what? I've seen some pretty big guys be able to do the same thing as, you know, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
As long as you can meet the physical requirements
Exactly.
and the health requirements, that's what matters. So, no, we don't specifically say you have to be.
No, there's no weight specification. It's physical fitness. Are you physically fit to pass the test? And you know, when you get to the academy, are you physically fit to pass the academy? And if you do not meet the physical fitness standards of the academy removes you, and then you can no longer be employed with the police department. So it's in your best interest to, if you struggle with your weight, just make sure that you're physically fit. Whether you're heavy or not doesn't necessarily mean you're not physically fit. So it really boils down to your physical fitness.
And I've known people to actually go to the academy and they'll hire like a personal trainer or a nutritionist to help them. Like they want the job that bad that they will do whatever it takes to
Exactly.
make it. And while we're talking about the academy and performance in the academy, if you do get hired by our agency and we send you to a local law enforcement academy, you're still not out of the woods if you're not performing to the standards of our agency inside of the academy. And we want our trainees to be excelling and up there in the top of their classes. If you're not performing to the standards of either the academy or the department, you could be released from the agency.
We do have a 1-year probationary period you actually are not a police officer when you're in the academy. You are a police officer trainee. And so you're not a tenured employee at that point. Once you graduate from the academy and you are certified by POST, that Peace Officer Standards and Training, that you meet the qualifications of a police officer, you are then sworn in as a police officer. Your 1-year probationary period begins from that time. So we have 1 year to evaluate your performance here at the police department, because this job is unlike others. You are going to have some great responsibilities, and we want to be able to evaluate your performance in those responsibilities. I mean, you know, you have people's Fourth Amendment rights in your hand. You have to abide by the law. You have to abide by search and seizure standards given to us by the courts. And if you don't comprehend that, or you can't apply that properly, then you could not meet the standards.
Yeah.
And so, but if you pay attention in the academy, if you pay attention in your training, and you do well in those areas, you should not have any problem.
Absolutely.
And you should be successful.
So we've got some questions, education questions. Do you recommend college students to apply immediately or have them wait until they graduate college?
Well, that's a personal choice, and you know, I don't want to upset any parents out there because I've known a lot of either students of mine or friends of mine where the parents will say, no, finish school first and then apply, and others say apply and finish your school later. It really boils down to personal choice. At minimum, you have to have 15 college units to apply with us. So at minimum, you have to do some college coursework to even get hired here with the police department.
But we're seeing more and more applicants that are coming in with degrees and sometimes
yeah.
multiple degrees.
Yeah,
and so that makes that, you know, when you're getting into that fishbowl of who you guys are going to select,
Compete against.
You know, everybody's standing out. Every aspect of the hiring process makes you stand out.
Absolutely.
So now, let's see. How would you treat an out-of-state police certification? They're saying Utah. This is for Wendy Way out there. Would you recommend them they join a department and lateral transfer? So Wendy, I think what you're asking is if you're already certified in the state of Utah, okay, so if you're certified in the state of Utah but you're not a police officer yet, I think that's what you're saying. Should they become a member of the department first, then lateral transfer, or can they challenge the post test?
Yes, there's a couple different ways. The issue is going to be this. You can challenge the post test and go for your post training to receive California post certification as a police officer here in the state of California. You could not apply with a police agency as a lateral, or at least with our agency, because our lateral position means you are currently an active police officer with another California agency. But what you can do is, if you're in Utah, you have the police training and you challenge the test here in California, and you get the California post training certificate, you can still test with the police officer trainee testing process. You just wouldn't be required to go to an academy, if that makes sense. You would have that post certification, so now you just need your training to match up with that academy training that you had challenged.
Gotcha.
So,
Fernando's asking, is there an advantage to applicants with higher education, for example, bachelor's degree or master's degree?
I think you will naturally do better in the process because you're just getting out of school. You have that higher education. You're prepared for test taking. You have a good foundation of reading and writing skills, which is a huge part of that test. Hopefully with that you had some experience, and you'll probably do well in the oral interview. It's not required. It doesn't necessarily give you extra points. However, how you carry yourself through the testing process will probably show. And I think those with higher education will usually do well. But that doesn't say a candidate that has military experience could be equal. I think it just boils down to personal experience. How you apply your education to your life is really what it boils down to. You know.
And once you are on with the department, you'll find that as you go through the various evaluation stages throughout your career, there are certain benefits that are given to those with, depending on their degree, in combination with advanced and intermediate certificates from California Post, which can warrant higher pay because of a master's degree or a bachelor's degree. So there's been a couple questions here. Some of them have already left off of our screen over here, but they were about in regards to people with disabilities. And those, I would imagine, would have to be on a case-by-case basis.
Those
They'd
would be
have
on a
to
case-by-case
evaluated,
basis.
right?
Yeah, actually, you go through a medical exam. As we go further along through the testing process, a medical exam is one of those essential portions of the exam. And really, it's not a decision of the police department per se. It will be of the medical professional and whether they recommend hiring or not based on the medical condition. You know, and not to get too personal, but I think getting personal is important because I had a physical disability that I had some challenges getting hired when I was younger, something from the military. And so every agency is different is what I can tell you. Some agencies I was not given the opportunity, and others I was. And Azusa is one of those that gave me the opportunity. And so it's a case-by-case basis. Every time I went through, you have to go through that medical exam, and that doctor really determines whether or not your disability is a condition that will allow you to be a police officer.
Excellent answer. Okay, so what academy do we use?
Well, we have several different academies. Currently, we are using the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. We are using the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. We are using Orange County Sheriff's Department, and we are using Rio Hondo. So,
which academy did you go through, sir?
I went through Orange County Sheriff's Academy, which is one of the high-stress academies and one of the best academies. I think you went
through the Orange County Sheriff's Academy too. So,
one of the best academies.
Yep. Hats off to Station 18.
Sorry, all the other agents.
Yeah, a little friendly rivalry there.
And how we determine that is basically when you get hired. Once you get through the background process and you were successful, based on that timing, whatever academy would be most appropriate based on what openings are available is who we would send them to. And so, the next academy up may be Orange County Sheriff's or maybe Los Angeles County Sheriff's. It just depends on where we're at in the hiring process.
So, Sarah, you're asking what might disqualify you from joining. There's so much that can be answered in that. It's just, I'd have to say anything, almost anything criminal.
Almost, it really depends. I know that sounds like a pretty vague answer, but things that would get you disqualified, one, for example, if you don't meet the basic requirements of the job flyer or the job description. You have to have a driver's license. You have to meet the age requirement. You have to, fill out the application correctly. And there's certain minimum requirements with the 15 units. If you do not have the 15 units at the time of application, you'll be disqualified.
And that was actually a question on here. Somebody asked that. Do they have to have it at the time of application or on the transcripts? Or
at the time of
So you have to have the 15 units
at the time of
application. At the time of application. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. No, I want to help everybody out that I can. And so as you get into the background, omissions are a disqualification. The drug use really depends on what the drug is, when the last time you used it, how long you used it, how many times you used it. There's so many variables. All you can do is be honest. And what I tell students that I talk to when they're looking at getting into this career is as soon as you can, when you realize this is the job for you, you need to disassociate yourself with people that use drugs, that use alcohol in excess or use it underage. You have to learn the lifestyle you're going to live as a police officer is completely different than most people's lives. And once you realize that, you can give yourself some distance from that. And the more time you distance yourself from that, you'll be successful. I received a little bit of radiation training in my military career and here at the police department, and there's three things: time, distance, and shielding. And if you give yourself enough time from those types of activities, or in high school, say you hung out with a rough crowd and you disassociate yourself with them, you don't become involved in the things that they do, you distance yourself from it, you shield yourself from it, and you give it some time. Most things you can overcome. But if you used drugs last week, if you used marijuana last week, you're going to be disqualified. It just it doesn't meet the standards. So it could be anything. You know, criminal activity. It's a case-by-case basis. You know, we're not looking for angels. We're looking for people that are honest. We're looking for people that have learned from their mistakes and that are upstanding citizens. So if you made a mistake and you continue to hang out with the same type of people you made mistakes with, the likelihood of you getting hired is probably slim. But if you made a mistake when you were younger and you got yourself back in school, you received an education, you are an upstanding citizen, those things are usually forgiven.
Right.
And
we've actually had some really good success stories come through, both in this agency and other agencies that we've heard about. Now, we've also heard some people do some really crazy things, like getting a pursuit on their way down for their oral interview. Not here at this department, but they got pursued by a law enforcement agency, and that doesn't play well in your background. So
There are some things that would be automatic disqualifiers if you've
running from the cops, fighting
assaulted
the cops,
people,
with
with a deadly weapon or a firearm or something to that degree. If you've been convicted of domestic violence and you're prohibited, or even battery prohibited from carrying a firearm, you can't be a police officer, because that's an essential part of the job, is to carry a firearm. So, just what I can say is, you know yourself better. Look at that personal history statement and honestly evaluate it. Is this something that you think can be forgiven or not?
Yeah.
And that's what you'll have to evaluate.
Here's a great question here, and it says, I've heard some police departments look at the Facebook profiles of applicants, and what sort of things do you guys look for and the red flags? So,
well, your background is you, whether it's your social media presence, whether it's your physical presence at school, at your job. What we're looking for is, are you a pillar, or who you're claiming to be? Mm-hmm. And so, yes, we do investigate social media just as much as we do your physical presence, your education, your home life, your neighborhood. All of those things are fair game for us to evaluate if you are going to be successful with our hiring process. And so, really, you have to live your life a totally different way than most people.
And let me address that on the social media side, is that do not delete your social media accounts, because now in this day and age, if you say you don't have one, and the captain turns to me as somebody that does our social media and asks me, hey, what do you see on this person? There are ways for me, legally and publicly, allowed to find your profiles even if they've been deleted. And the old saying, once it's out on the web, it's there forever. And we're okay. We know we're going to come across pictures of you in the water, sitting next to a boat out at Havasu, drinking a beer. Okay, that's life. However, if we go and we can't find nothing on you, I'll tell you what it really does for us. When we can't find anything on you, we start digging a little bit harder, and why not? And then if you do say, I deleted my profiles, red flag, you're asking right here, what's the red flags? That's a red flag. Was why? Why did you delete the profiles? What was there that was causing you to be fearful that we were going to find? So I would just say, leave your profiles as is, and just be a good exemplar, lead an exemplary life for us.
And if you've made some mistakes on social media, obviously learn from those mistakes, and it's much the same: time, distance, and shielding. Don't engage in that activity anymore. Yeah, you can remove that particular post that was inappropriate, and don't post inappropriate things on your social media. Right. And that's what it boils down to. So many people are so tempted to go onto social media and start bad-mouthing their bosses, bad-mouthing their neighbors, bad-mouthing people they don't like. All of those things are unprofessional. And getting into this career, this is a career that pays well and gives you great benefits. we're not just going to give this job to anybody. We're going to make sure the person is professional. You know, they work hard, they treat people right, they are pillars of the community, because you, in essence, represent our agency once we hire you. And so, yeah, it can be challenging.
Yeah.
But bottom line, with your social media, yes, we are going to look at it. It doesn't mean because you've ever, posted something inappropriate that you won't get hired. What I'm telling you is, don't do that anymore. Distance yourself from it. And the longer you have from that time to now, and you can demonstrate that you've changed, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. So, somebody's asking, I don't know if you have it on that paper, what the starting salary is. Right here, what's the starting pay for? Do you know that?
Well, I don't
know
have
it's
it,
on
but
our website.
if you go on the website, it's on the job flyer itself.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to get in. I don't want to quote something and it
Right.
not be accurate. I want accurate.
Somebody had asked, I have a friend that's in San Diego, does it need to be in the academy first? And then also somebody had asked, the comment already went away, they said they were 26, is it too late to get into their dream job? That's being a police officer.
By no means. I've known so many people that got into this career later, and sometimes they're even better police officers because they have some life experience, and that life experience shows when you're more mature and have that experience. And oftentimes those people make pretty darn good police officers. I have a number of colleagues that I work with that actually got in the job in their late 20s to early 30s. They actually, while working, I talked a little bit in the beginning of this with regard to the 3 different processes: in academy, police officer, trainee, and lateral. Well, this person wanted to do this dream job so bad, he actually put himself through an extended academy while working full time. And we actually hired him as a in-academy recruit, and he's done a great job for us, and he's worked a bunch of special assignments, and he's a great cop. So you're not too old for this dream job, and it is a dream job, you're right.
Yeah. So, been doing it for 24 years and still love every aspect of it. Okay, how many officers are in our department? Where are we at right
Well, we are our complement is 60 sworn police officers. Right now we have 58. We're trying to hire the 2, and so hopefully some of you become those 2 people.
And Einzel, I believe it's is your name. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but police officers from California need to come to Idaho and teach them. Well, I don't know. Maybe
Actually, it is beautiful up there.
it is
Ben.
beautiful up there. That's true. So before we take some more questions, we were on the topic about getting the background paperwork.
Yep.
So that starts rolling, and now you've decided, okay, you know what, their background's clean. Now where do we go in the process?
So once you get into the background, you've passed your polygraph, you're into the background. At some point, it's going to appear everything is pretty good. And so what happens is typically you are given a conditional job offer, and the condition is if you pass your psychological and your medical portion. So you have more to the testing process. You'll go for a full medical exam. We want to make sure that your heart and your physical being can keep up with the demands of this job. This job can be physically taxing, and you need to be in good medical condition. So that portion will occur. And then if you pass that, there's a psychological component. And that psychological component is a 2-part. Typically, they take the MMPI, and I can't recall.
Michigan multiphasic something.
Instrument, maybe. Somebody's going to have to Google it for us. But the MMPI is one portion, and then there's an interview where they compare the 2.
Minnesota multiphasic personality inventory.
There you go.
Wow.
Wow. And so if you pass those 2, then you will be given a job offer. And then there's one last interview with the chief of police, and the chief of police will interview you and usually give you that job offer if you do well.
So Alfonso Castaneda, we've already answered this one. Do you need a degree to be a police recruit at your department? At this time, it's just, what is it, 15 units?
15 college units.
Yeah.
Somebody asked how long it takes to do 15 units. It really depends on the demands in your life. Very easily, you can take 15 units in one semester. So that 15 units could literally take you about 4 months. Or if you have to do, typically one class is about 3 units. So if you do about 5 classes, if you're a full-time student, that could be 1 semester. A part-time student, you would do 1 or 2 classes a semester, so you can get it in a year. So.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so they get offered, so they make it. They make it all the way down. They have the interview with the chief. The chief says, "Okay, we're going to hire you, send you through the academy." How long is the academy?
The academy is almost 6 months. 20. It depends on which academy you go to. So in the neighborhood of 25 to 27 weeks on average, and so you're looking at 5 to 6 months roughly. And you have to keep in mind, we're not going to hire you and then the next day we're going to send you to the academy.
Right.
So this time can be stretched out a little bit. Typically what we'll do is we'll give you the job offer. We're going to give you some time to notify your current job that you're going to leave and come on board with us. And so it may take a couple weeks to actually bring you on board. Then we have to get you equipment, uniforms, get you the things that you will need to be successful in the academy, and process you into the department. And then we may do some basic physical fitness with you to make sure you're prepared for the academy. We will send you out on some ride-alongs to talk to officers so that you can be well prepared for the academy. And then depending on when that academy date is, then we'll put you there.
So after you get out of the academy and now you walk in the doors, you are finally a police officer. You're going to go through and we have, again, I'm pretty proud of our training process, but I'm also proud of our field training officer program.
Yes.
We have 5 phases at 5 weeks each, so that's 25 weeks.
25 weeks.
You've already gone, almost 3 to 6 months on the hiring process, then 6 months in the academy, and now we're going to throw you in 6 months in a training car with a police officer. Explain the field training program.
Sure. So once you graduate and you come here to the police department, really your training just begins. Everything in the academy is going to now be put into, you're going to take that theory and you're actually going to apply it to the real life conditions. And that's the on-the-job training portion of the training. And so we use the San Jose model or a California Post model with 5 phases, 5 weeks per phase. And in that training, you're going to learn everything from the onset in the very beginning to being introduced to a police car and all of the different things that are inside that police car, to the police building and all the areas you're going to need to access. Every police form that you are going to use throughout your career, you'll be introduced to that and how to find it and how to fill it out and how to complete it. You'll be introduced to the computers. There's so much technology these days. From the time I started to now, oftentimes it takes a good half hour even before you can go out and service out in the field with all your technology, your emails, your computer in the car, and all the technology. So that first phase is really introducing you to all these things, and then as you start to progress through this field training, you're going to learn to start to work in that environment, because you have to understand, you have this police car with all these lights and sirens and different things in the car and the radio and the computer, and then we're asking you to go out and look for crime and to look for trouble.
Just drive the car.
And just drive the car. So sometimes that's just a challenge in of itself. So we get you comfortable in the environment that you're going to work in. Right. And so we're not just going to put you in the car and tell you, hey, go fight crime and watch out, there's bad guys trying to hurt you. We are going to indoctrinate you into the career and what it's going to take to be successful and what it's going to take to be safe and apply what you learned in the academy appropriately.
Yeah. So and it's stressful being in that training program because you are constantly, every day a form is completed on you and evaluates you. Everything from your appearance and your attitude to your performance, driving the car, talking on the radio, and performing some of the tasks, the calls that you've handled, and navigation in the city.
Absolutely.
And one very big component that we stress a lot here with our trainees in the field training program is how they react or how they interact with the members of our community, our residents, our business owners, our visitors, our guests, our students from Azusa Pacific University. How do they interact with them? Do they portray professional, solid, competent image? At the same time, do they portray compassion and understanding in the enforcement of the law? And those are key components it's one of the things that makes our department great and the people we have working here. And each call that we go on as a police officer in this department, whether you're a captain, the chief, a corporal, whoever you are in the department, every call you go on, you are an ambassador for the city.
Absolutely.
For the city government.
For all of law enforcement.
For all of law enforcement.
For everyone. And
it's critical.
Yeah, and the community, the police, the city government, we all work together to accomplish our goals and objectives. And if you can't have that relationship with your community, then you shouldn't be in this career, because really your community is why you're doing this job. It's really about the community.
So I see a comment here: paper pusher admin guys just like military experience. Well, we're both military, and we don't dislike the military. We love the military. We love the military experience. We think it's we've got one guy right now in training car that's just came from the military, and he's actually still in the reserves. So
yeah, we have plenty of military folks here.
Great
We
job.
somebody just gave me a statistic here. I think we have about 27% veterans, if the information is accurate that somebody gave me. And so we know of a number of our officers have that prior military experience. So, matter of fact, I was recently on a military base for observance of Memorial Day, and I was asking some of the command staff there, hey, do you have any military folks that are getting ready to ETS or get out of the military, because we're hiring, send them our way, so what greater honor do you have than serving our country and then coming back and serving our community? So
absolutely.
I think it's great.
So with that, okay, so then once you get signed off out of the field training program, you will be handed over the keys to perform your functions as a police officer in a police vehicle. And by that time, will they be out of probation, or will they still have?
No, typically there'll be a few months in their probationary period, because once we have evaluated and we think that you can perform the job, you're now going to do it on your own. And so we have to make sure that all of those principles and training that we've given you are continued to be applied when you're on your own. You don't just think, oh, okay, I'm out of the car, I'm on my own. No, these are things that we require you keep with you throughout your career, because the things that we're going to teach you and provide you are going to be there for you to save your life, to save the lives of others, to make sure that you are respectful to the community, that you follow the law and proper procedure. And so that probationary period will help us evaluate. But then even after that, we have standards and policy and procedure that you have to abide by throughout your career.
Absolutely.
Because no matter whether you're a first-year cop or like us in our, I'm at 27 and you've been around for a long time as well, we're held to the same standards throughout our career. So it's going to stick with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, I think we've got all the questions.
Lateral recruiting, yes, we are recruiting for lateral right now.
Don, yes, we are. We are taking lateral recruits. And Anthony, when we're done with this live recording, you'll be able to watch the replay where we answer a lot of those questions about the college requirements, the units, the high school education requirements. And then how long does the probation? Well, we just answered that one after the academy.
That's a great question right there. Rob Roberts.
Yeah.
Do recruits get to meet Bob Termath? Well, unfortunately, Bob Termath is no longer working at the Academy, but he is an icon.
That's right.
And he is a great sergeant for us and a great mentor for me.
Yeah.
But he's retired now.
Are there plans to bring back the Explorer program? You know, at this point, I don't know.
Yeah. There's no plans for it right now. It's difficult. Both Mike and I were products of an Explorer program,
and we were advisors,
and we were both advisors. But there are challenges that come with those types of programs. We have a great Explorer program in our neighboring city, Glendora, and they have a very robust program. So what I do is I recommend my friends and colleagues to refer their kids over to Glendora, because they do a great program over there.
Only for the Explorer program. If you're looking to become a police officer, though,
but come
you come over here. So, okay, and okay, let's see. Well, John Fisher. That name sounds familiar. John Fisher.
Hi, John. How are you? We miss you.
So, does being a former Explorer with another department help in the process?
I would say it helped me and it helped you.
We were both at different agencies. So.
You know, it's much like the military and the education. You're not going to get any extra points for that, but I think you're going to be more prepared than the average person because of those experiences you had, the conversations you had with police officers on your ride-alongs or in your program, and you have mentors that you can go to help you through the process. So even those of you who don't have any family or friends in law enforcement and you're looking at this career, go to your local police department or come here and talk to the officers. They'll talk about their job. They'll talk about the hiring process. You know, we're looking for great candidates to come and join us in the ranks. And, you know, any advice that we can give to help a good candidate out to come, we would love to do that.
Excellent. And I see...
Which is why we're doing this.
Yeah. I see somebody has just signed on, and actually that person is a very big, you know, to show you how small this community is, this person that's made a comment played a very big part in my love for community policing and you know, just getting out there and helping the community. So my hat's off to her. So. Yeah. Anyway, so okay, if anybody has any more questions, we'll stay here for about 1 minute longer, and then we're going to wrap it up. We've I can't even read how long we've been on here, but hopefully this has helped people that are looking to apply with our department.
About an hour and 12 minutes.
Hour and 12 minutes.
You told me it was going to be about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and actually, I think yeah, we got to wrap this up because Facebook only allows 90 minutes on a Facebook Live presentation.
Well,
so.
Mike, I really appreciate the opportunity to come out here. You know, I've been with the department for a long time. I've been part of the hiring process for a while now. And, you know, getting these messages out is extremely important. For those of you who are interested in the career, it's a very rewarding career, but you have to want to do it.
Absolutely.
It can be some of the most difficult times in your life, but it can be some of the best times of your life. And if you want to do this job and you put forth the effort, it will be a great career. And so I look forward to seeing your applications. I look forward to meeting those of you who learned from this presentation and get involved in the process. And I wish you all the best of luck.
Okay. And we will catch you later. Again, thank you for tuning in, and we're out of here.
Good night.
Now I got to reach over that table and hit finish. You got it?